So we've been on the road for a little while now, and we've been using our shower, which has worked great as a regular shower, but now it's time to add the recirculating upgrade to it so that we can have endless hot showers.
We're Tim and Abby, and we converted our Ford Transit into a fully off-grid camper van. We're now enjoying life on the road, so join us for some adventures as we travel around the UK and beyond.
So our setup at the moment is that we've got the hot and the cold tap in the shower. So the cold is just drawing cold water from the tank at the back of the van, and that's just the same tank that's also giving water to the sink, because we've only got cold water in the sink. And then for the hot water, we've got a separate tank in here, which is just for our shower. So this is a 18-litre tank, and we heat that up using our diesel heater and a heat exchanger, or also via an element as well in there, 300 watt element, so if it's really nice and sunny or we're driving, we can heat it up like that as well. And then what we usually do is fill that to about 12 litres, because we worked out with both having a shower we can get by with about 6 litres each. But it does mean it's a sort of in and out really quick shower, and then there's one person watching this gauge sort of telling the other one how much water they've got left. And it's surprising how quick you use it actually, because we've just got a regular shower head and we've got a pretty powerful pump, so it's pushing out 7.5 litres a minute. Just means you have to be really fast, and it means obviously all the water that we use for the shower goes straight down the drain and into our waste tank. And one of the slightly annoying things we have at the moment is our waste tank fills up quite quickly. It's probably the first thing that means we have to go back to civilization to empty it if we're actually using the shower. So what we're quite excited about is that now we're going to do the upgrade for it. So we left this area here for some filters and stuff when we built it, and that means that when it's recirculating, we'll be able to use the hot tap to pull the water from the tank just as before, but instead of going down the drain and into the waste tank, we'll be able to take that water back up through the van, filter it, and then put it back in the tank, so it's sort of like a continual loop. And yeah, if it all works out, it's a bit of an experiment this one, but if it works out, we should be able to have a nice continuous shower using the same water for a few showers, and then at some point we'll actually dump the water and then refill the tank again and start the loop again and have more showers. Right, so I think we've got the last of Abby's diagrams for our van build, and it's a good one to finish, so that's good. So yeah, this is our recirculating shower system, and we're only showing that part here. We're not showing the cold water side and the hot water side, but we've done that before. So what we've got at the moment is the hot water is in the shower tank, and this bit already exists. So we've got a hot water pump and an accumulator, so that is pulling the water out of that tank once it's heated up obviously, and then pushing it through this pipe and up to the shower, and then it comes out through the shower, obviously have a nice shower, down through the drain, and then it just goes straight into the grey water tank under the van. But what we're going to do now is add the recirculating part, but we also want it to be an optional recirculating part so that we can still have a sort of normal shower if we want to. And the reason for that is that if, I don't know, we've been out for a walk or run or something and we're quite dirty, even though we can filter the water, it'd be nice if we can have an initial normal shower first to get rid of the majority of all the dirt and things. And that can go into the waste tank, and then we can change it to recirculating and have just a nice long rinse afterwards. So the way that's going to work is we have a switch outside the shower here. In one position that will just be a regular shower as we've got now. Then we'll turn the switch on, and what that will do at the same time is close a ball valve under the van, so that will close off the path to the grey water tank, so no water can now flow into there. And at the same time we'll turn on a pump inside the van, which will then pull the water up through this pipe here, and then going through a number of filters. So there's already a filter there, and there'll be another filter here. Then it goes up and pushes it through this 3-stage filter here, and then back through a UV light, which is also turned on at the same time, and then finally back into the tank. So yeah, there's quite a few different stages of filtering that will be happening to keep it clean. Counting them, we worked out we've got effectively like an 8-stage filtering system if it all works out. So yeah, the idea is you'll be in the shower as a normal shower, and then when you're ready for your nice long rinse, you open the door and we're going to mount the switch probably to somewhere around here. So you just reach around, you turn that switch on, and then hear a bit of noise probably as everything kicks in, and then you have a really nice long rinse. And then when you're done, you just turn it off recirculating and you come out. So yeah, that's the idea anyway. So one of the other things we have to be quite careful about with our setup is Legionella, because we've got water here that's going to be potentially sitting warm for a little while, because we want to be able to recirculate it and use it for summer showers. Obviously we don't want to have a breeding ground for that, because then if we're in the shower and it's all airborne, we could be inhaling it, and worst case you pick up Legionnaires disease, something like that, which we obviously don't want. So what we need to do is just to control the temperature of the water to make sure we can kill off any of that bacteria. And below 20 degrees all the bacteria lies dormant. Around 40 degrees, which is a nice shower temperature, quite inconveniently it likes that and starts to thrive. But as soon as you go above 60 degrees it starts to die off, and at 70 degrees it's effectively killed instantly. So what we'll be doing, we've got our handy little controller here, and we can just program the temperature we want the water. So every now and then we'll just take the water up to 70 degrees, and then we can be pretty confident we've killed off any of the bacteria in there, and then can safely use our shower. So yeah.
Alright, I guess we better get all our tools out. Yeah, so you can see we've got a little bit of a mishmash of stuff, and then we've got all the other bits that we need to do for the recirculating shower, like a pump and all these tubes and stuff like that. So yeah.
It's going to be really nice to actually have a garage, isn't it?
I think it's, yeah, once all that stuff's out, this will actually be quite clear, and you can have space for bikes and stuff like that. So
yeah, because we weren't going to have access to like just an easy workshop to go to, we thought we'd better just bring everything we could think of we might need. So that's what we've done.
Yeah.
I give it about a few hours before we realise we have to go to Screwfix or something anyway.
Probably, yeah. But at the moment we're in a campsite in Zennor in Cornwall, and there's absolutely nothing around us. Nice and quiet, which is great. But yeah, I think if we needed any supplies, we'd have to go back to Penzance, which is about a 20-minute drive.
Yeah.
Yeah, but got some nice neighbours.
We do. So that is what's left in our garage after we've taken out everything we need for the shower.
Right. So this is the housing that we've got for the filters going into our shower. So they're quite big, and these are the actual filters that will go inside, and the water goes from one direction in and then out, and you can change that around if you want to. So yeah, the next job we've got is to mount this inside our alcove in the shower. We're going to have to fiddle around with it a little bit, because we've got to mount them on the back wall there, and then we've also got to drill a hole here and here somewhere for the water to come in and then back out again. So we've also got to make sure that there's space for us to unscrew these bottles to replace the filters when they need changing.
Yeah, that's a good point. And the reason we've got the filters inside the shower is so that when we open them and change the filters, we're already in a waterproof room essentially. And we've borrowed that idea from Alex at Mispronounced Adventures, who has also got a similar setup with his recirculating shower with the filters inside. And yeah, we just thought that was a really good idea, so we're doing that. Right, here goes nothing.
Very nice. I think it's going to need a bit of sanding.
That's annoying. Come on.
Yay!
There we go.
Finally.
Have some sustenance. Should have saved it to the end, then we could have had a toast when we've finally done it.
Finally. What an absolute pain. So Tim and I have upped and moved to a different campsite, mostly because our grey water tank was getting quite full. So we've come to this one now and we've done a bit of a reset. So yeah.
We've also got showers, which is a bonus while we're dismantling ours a little bit.
Yeah,
Can't
exactly.
use it. Right, so we are ready to put the bulkhead connectors through now, and our sealant tube that we had sort of solidified, but luckily we were able to salvage it, so haven't yet had to do a trip to Screwfix to go and get some more of that.
Luckily. Okay.
Pull it in.
Right, so we're just trying to work out where we need to drill the holes in order to screw this housing in for our little filter housing here.
Yeah, the tolerance is quite small because we need to be able to get the cartridge filters out, obviously, to change them, and they unscrew quite far actually. So we've just raised it up on our coasters to give an idea. So even like that, it looks like there's loads of space, but only just comes out if you sort of tilt it. Ooh. Knock the towels down. But the other thing is that we also need to be able to get this whole cartridge housing in and out, and to do that where the screws are means that you have to be able to like lift it up and then out. So we think it will just work.
Sorry, the towels are just resting on your back. Maybe we should take them out. Okay.
Yeah, probably would have been a good idea if we'd actually cleared out the whole shower before we started doing DIY inside.
We're just going to do the pipe work for our filter housings to come in and out. What we're doing is using the 12mm John Guest stuff for that, which is used for pretty much everywhere else in the van for our water.
And hopefully we've got enough pipe.
Yeah, we've got some, really the only stuff we've got is this looped up remnant here, which is the remains of what's going behind the shower.
Better make sure we don't make any mistakes.
Yeah, it's not a huge amount of room for errors there.
So the next thing to do is to redo all of the plumbing under the van to make it recirculating.
Not our favourite job.
At least it's a nice day, it's not raining.
True, yeah.
Had to actually open the doors because Abby was getting too hot. Get some airflow in. Right, so yeah, under the van we've got our waste plumbing, and we use the 40mm domestic waste pipe, so it's quite nice and quick draining. And we've got a 45 litre tank over there. And then feeding into that, we've got the sink coming out, and then that tees in, and then we've got the heat exchanger, so the drain from our bobble kit, and then this is the one from the shower, and this is the inline filter. So we've already got that one in, but yeah, we need to disconnect all of like this section now and redo that.
Try not to get it in your eyes.
That's all right. Right, so giving that filter that was under the van a good clean, so that's good to go again. And that is now just going to be one part of our filtration system, which is all of this stuff here. So yeah, basically the first layer of defence is this tub shroom, it's called. That's supposed to catch all of the hairs and things that might get clogged up down the drain. And then this is the one we've had under the van, obviously. So that is just a waste pipe insert that has a little mesh inside. So that's been actually really good because it means that any solids and things that have come down the shower or the sink, mainly the sink for that one actually, because we've got one on the sink as well, haven't been able to get into the waste tank. So when we drain that, it's usually just nice clear water. And then coming back into the van, it goes through this one, which is a pre-pump filter and just has a little mesh inside there just to catch any debris and to stop it going into the pump and clogging that up. So it works well, and you can just unscrew this to clean out every time you need to. And then it flows into this one, which is a spin down filter, and this is sort of similar to that one, it's just a lot finer. So this one is 50 microns, and a micron is a micrometer, which is 1/1,000,000th of a meter, and 50 is about the diameter of a human hair. So anything smaller than that, and you can't actually really see it with the human eye, whereas this one is 50 mesh, which is a bit confusing because it's a different scale, but I think that roughly translates to about 300 micron. So we're sort of stepping down as we go down. So we've got 300 there, 50 here, and this one is flushable too, so every now and then when you need to clean it, you can sort of drain it through there and flush water through, which is good. And then it goes into the cartridge filters, so these obviously will live in the housings that are in the shower. And we've got a 20 micron to start, so yeah, that is particles that are already too small to see. And then once it's gone through that, then it goes into this one, which is a 5 micron, then a carbon filter, and this one helps to remove chemicals, chlorine, bad odours, smells and that kind of stuff, before it then finally passes through the UV sterilising lamp, and that should hopefully just kill off any bacteria and things like that before it ultimately goes back into the tank, ready to start another loop. And yeah, so quite a lot of filters means there's obviously quite a lot of maintenance involved too. The filters don't last forever, they're going to need replacing every now and then, and some of them obviously need cleaning out periodically. So it's not a completely maintenance-free system, but we figured that little bit of work every now and then is worth it, so we can have really nice long showers on the road and also conserve all of the water we've got in the back, which is good. So we're just having a quick break to have some scones outside in the sunshine.
How
Good
very
break.
English.
We got it both ways around as well, so we like it different.
We don't want to cause controversy.
Yeah, it's so nice and sunny today, it's brilliant. So we've been under the van for a little while, just playing around with loads of different pipes and connectors and things, and all the bits and bobs we brought with us, and it's gone pretty well, hasn't it, with the stock we had on board?
Yeah, it was a bit of a rocky start because we were trying to do everything down that side where the shower drain is, and nothing was fitting. But then I think since then we've just come up with this idea of keeping everything in line with the original drain. And
Yeah.
It's working out better now.
And the only thing that we realised we probably need is another elbow of waste pipe to be able to connect this one back into that one.
Yeah.
It's been a bit tricky under here because we've obviously got limited space, and we need to make sure that the pipes are sort of always going downhill gradually, obviously, so there's enough gradient that the water will actually drain. But then we've got to get in all of the different connections that we need along the way. So yeah, there's not much drop, but I think it will work. Just needs a little bit of neatening up, doesn't it?
Yeah. It's inevitable we had to go and get something.
The whole box?
Yeah,
Right, hopefully that's all we need
I
now.
think so.
Okay, let's get back to it.
So we've had to have a bit of a change of plan today because it's ridiculously windy, so we think we're going to do a little bit of work inside, wait for the wind to drop, and then we can carry on underneath the van.
So we've got to get another pump mounted. So this is the pump we're going to use for the recirculating loop, and it's the exact same pump that we're using for the cold water and the hot water as well. So yeah, third one of these in the van. We were going to put the pump in this cupboard. That was our original plan. As you can see, it's there's not really enough space in there to do it.
Really.
And I think actually we're going to put the pump in our bench seat cupboard, bench seat storage area here, which actually probably works out better because it's closer to the filters it's going to anyway. Right, so you can see that's the one for the cold water. It's exactly the same one. So ideally the pump would be somewhere about there, but obviously, yeah, it's quite tight, so you have to have a bit playing around.
Thank you.
Nice, well done.
Oh, it's so hot.
We have one mounted pump. And coasters came in really handy actually to help hold it in place. There we go. Does it feel secure?
Yeah, it's not bad. And then we can turn this a little bit. Okay, right.
Cool.
So now we'll just carry on round this way.
Has the wind died down yet?
No, of course.
How does it feel to be doing DIY on the road?
It's quite nice.
Have you missed it?
No. But what I mean is it feels nice to be doing our shower, recirculating shower, finally.
It's strange to be sort of living in it and building in it at the same time actually, isn't it?
But quite nice in a way.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is a bit tricky when you have a limited number of resources.
Yeah. What's going to be really good is not having to have all of these random boxes lying around all the time with everything we need.
I can't wait to throw out the cardboard boxes.
So we almost hit a big roadblock because we didn't have a way of tightening the connectors that we're putting in. And then at the last minute realised that the like wheel nut removal tool from the van fits perfectly on here. So that is very lucky. One thing that's different about building this time round is we got to reset back to house mode at the end of every day, so just had a bit of a clear up.
Just shoved it all in the front.
Pretty much. Right, what's for dinner tonight then?
Falafel wraps.
Sounds good. Comes. Okay, that bit was a lot easier than I thought it was going to be.
Okay, so I think that's this little section pretty much done. I think what we're going to do now is, it's a glorious day, so we can finally carry on underneath the fan again. Which is nice.
Cool. Well, it's getting there, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's really nice and warm today. Amazing. Right, so this is the setup that we're thinking about under the van, and it's taken a few iterations to get to this point, I think it's fair to say, but it's actually not too bad now. So the way it works is, this is the drain coming out the shower, and that's going to go down through this pipe to here, and then it has a choice. So it can either go this way to the waste tank, just as it was before, or if we turn on the recirculating loop, then this bit will close up and this bit will open because there's a pump attached to the tube that goes here back into the van. So recirculating comes like this, it just keeps going round and round, and the other way, standard way, just goes through the pipe and straight into the waste tank. And the key piece to make that work is this. So this is the ball valve, and the way that works is it's a little motorized valve. So at the moment it's open, and what happens is you apply power to it and it closes the valve. And what's cool about it actually is that it works on 12 volts but also even on 9 volts, so you can actually just test it with a little 9-volt battery. So I've got a battery there, and all I need to do is just touch the positive one there and the black one negative there, and you can see it just closes up. So what we're going to use this for is, when we've turned on the recirculating shower, we don't want any water to go into the waste tank. So we send power to this valve, which then closes that pathway essentially, and then means that the water can only come up through this tube, which will be pumped up. And the other nice thing about this is that if you remove the power, it automatically opens again. So you can get these in a few different types, and we've gone for the 2-wire one that is normally open, so you need power to close it, and it basically uses no power in that state. And if the power was ever lost for any reason, like if we've got a problem with any of the recirculating setup, the nice thing is it will just revert back to being open, and then we can still use the normal shower while we fix it. You can get them the other way around, so they're normally closed, and you can get them 3-wire versions as well. But yeah, this is going to be perfect for what we need, and that will just sit in there like that. And then, as usual with plumbing, probably one of the actual most difficult parts was just figuring out how to connect all the bits together. So we've got various different adapters which we had to find, and then just another little step down here to go to the 12mm tube. We need to go back up to the pump in the van. Again, we're doing a very non-standard thing. We're trying to get the waste plumbing side connected back up to the supply line that then goes into the pump, which is just not something you'd normally do. We've basically got the 40mm waste on this side, 40mm waste on this side, and then just this sort of junction area in the middle to decide what to do with the water. Should work, right?
Yeah, well, fingers crossed.
That's part of the fun, is you don't actually know yet if this is going to work. What have we built?
I have no idea.
I think that's one of the craziest contraptions we've made so far.
Yeah.
Trying to figure out all the different waste connectors was tricky. Well, a lot of the ones we've used are McAlpine, and they're actually really good because they've got loads of technical drawings on their website. You can see how they all connect. So obviously I've spent a lot of time reading like that and looking at technical drawings of different compression, BSP, push fit, everything basically to figure out how to do this.
You did a really good job. I don't know how you did it.
Well, we don't know if it works yet. Save your praise for the end. Why is it so much more tiring doing everything upside down? Now for the crazy bit. Okay, so that bit's got to go down there somewhere. And then, sort of hoping that we can just bend this bit around here somehow. So the ball valve is, I think it's IP55 rated, so it is sort of a bit weatherproof, but we still want to keep it sort of out of the way if we can. So I think what we were thinking is it tuck quite nicely about there, and then it's sort of protected by the chassis members here.
Yeah.
Okay, do you think something like that will work?
Yeah, so all we need to do now is to extend that bit of tube so
This one.
that can connect onto there. Hopefully that'll keep some of the heat in. Whew.
Well, that is the last connection made.
Yeah.
Now we just need to make it a little bit more secure.
Yeah.
Getting a bit dizzy being upside down this long.
It's alright. I feel really dirty as well.
We're getting there.
The stuff keeps falling in my eyes. Oh, and my hair keeps getting caught in the Velcro.
You've also got a cable tie attached to your head.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. turn.
There's never enough space to actually turn over, that's the most annoying thing.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go out a bit more. Wait for the day I don't have to do this anymore. I'm stuck. Okay. Right. That isn't bad actually. This is coming down and then it goes up a bit. So you kind of need it to do maybe that a bit.
But then does that make it still go?
No, that's alright.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. I can tighten up that cable tie over there.
Yeah, I think it's just hanging down a bit now because it's got the extra weight probably.
Cool. Alright, tighten up.
That's why it did that.
So we're just sitting down having a cup of tea after being under the van all day doing up the waste plumbing, and we
feel filthy.
Yeah. Then I'm thinking that we really don't want the sink water to ever be able to mix with the shower water and accidentally find its way, not only going through the ball valve and stuff like that, which is a bit disgusting, isn't it? So yeah, we don't do that. Is that rain? So just quickly then, so we're sitting here and I was thinking, saying to Abby we need to do something, and then she was like, oh, you could just get a non-return valve. And I was like, that's actually a really good idea. So we looked it up, and the one from McAlpine that we've seen before is 18 quid, and while we were looking it up, someone claimed all of our stuff and buy me a coffee, and then just after that they donated 6 teas, which coincidentally is 18 quid. So I was saying, well, we should tell them all your money's gone to waste. We could buy that non-return valve now.
Why has it started raining on the only time that we've actually sat down today?
I don't actually know. It is a bit ridiculous, isn't it? That's really nice.
What's
Right,
that, then?
inside we go.
Okay, hopefully this is the last time. Not sure if we actually need this, but it's only a few quid, so we thought better be safe than sorry. Hopefully it's going to fit in the van. I think you're going a bit
mad with all the plumbing, are you? Right, there we go, that is all the plumbing redone under the van.
Finally.
Yeah.
Took a bit of doing, didn't it?
Did take a bit of doing, but yeah, we're pretty happy with it now. What we've done is we've remade the one for the sink, so that now goes all the way to the tank pretty much, and then the shower one is just running alongside it. And we've also put a non-return valve in the waste at the end of the shower one, so none of the sink water can get back into it, which is quite good. I think that's quite a key piece actually, because now we don't have to worry about any of the sink water accidentally making its way into the shower side if the incline is wrong. And then yeah, we've just got this U-bend coming around here for the shower, back here, and then this is the part where it goes back into the van, and then through the ball valve will go into the tank. So yeah, we've also just taken all the pipes down, we've had to anyway, to reconfigure it, so we've given them all a clean, so everything is good as new really,
Brand
isn't it?
new, yeah.
Yeah. At some point we might actually replace our grey tank with a bigger one, and then probably what we would do is put a separate inlet for the shower and the sink separately, but for now this should work pretty good. We're even thinking possibly we don't even need this U-bend, because this is sort of, you know, the idea of this is to stop smells and things making their way up from the tank back into the shower, but now we've got the non-return valve, sort of does the same thing, so we could possibly get rid of this bit and then just have it going straight down into the tank so that there's no chance of any water being in this bit, because if we're using the shower in cold climates and things, then any water in here could freeze. So, but for now it should be fine.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that is all the plumbing done under the van.
Woohoo! I don't want to be under here anymore.
Yeah. So all of the pipe work is connected up everywhere now, apart from just this area here, which is where the UV light is going to go. Had a little bit of thinking about how we're actually going to mount that, because we can't put any screws through this bit because that's just really thin van metal that basically would poke straight through to the outside. So before we hit the road, I did actually make this little frame, which was a very last minute job. It's quite tight, and also it'd be pretty tricky to be able to get the pipes in and be able to actually get this out and disconnect it in the future. So then Abby had a much better, simpler idea. Scrap this entire frame, don't need it, and instead
just fix it on with some heavy duty Velcro and then be pretty much the right height to just connect straight up to the filters. So
Hopefully that will be alright, won't it?
yeah, good job.
That is the last connection that we can do for the plumbing, I think.
Yeah, that's worked out really good actually. Pretty tidy.
I think we might take the rest of the day off, maybe go and get an ice cream or something.
Yeah, isn't it like one of the hottest days of the year right now?
I think so, yeah. I need to get out. I think we've earned it.
I think we've done a good job.
Yeah.
Alright, just the electrics left and then we can test it out.
So yeah, join us next time and we'll see if it all works.